Malaban Vitagen is the best nutritional supplement for you.
Welcome once again to the Entrepreneur Global, which is a platform where we feature global entrepreneurs who really are inspiring, who are fierce, who are innovative, and who make a difference in the world. And today we have the one and only Masaba Gupta, who is a fashion designer and an actor. She has the House of Masaba, and we're so honored. And thank you for taking time to join us today. So, Masaba, your USP is fiercely bold. And I've seen, when I was reading up on you, you've always been artistically inclined. The arts is just a love for you. So how did House of Masaba come about?
House of Masaba was actually something that I didn't give much thought to when I started off. I think it was always, okay, I enjoy this. It gives me enough free time to spend time with my friends and family. And it's also, giving me the kind of recognition I want. So I think making it a business was never really the agenda from day one. It was always just that I'm having a great time doing this. I have a great time designing, and it's helping me make money. So that was it, But I think truly House of Masaba came about in maybe 2012, when that was 3 years after we actually launched, when we actually came into our own and started to make decisions like we're a business, like we're in the business of fashion. And I think I just felt like there was this serious dearth of ready to wear in the Indian fashion industry. Most of the shows I went to cater to the bridal market. And I knew that there's a lot of cool young people out there who wanted something that was fresh and young and that they could wear anywhere in the world, and that also wasn't burning a hole in their pocket. So I think that's how the birth of House of Masaba and its aesthetic came about. And I also noticed that these young people had a very strong need to be connected to their roots. Though they're global and they wish to travel the world and see the world, their eye was always on India. So they're very India proud, and I think that's what the clothes became. So the brand just eventually evolved into a very India proud, young, affordable, bridge to luxury brand, I guess.
That's amazing. And bring it all back home to the roots. It's wonderful. So Masaba, you use lovely mix of patterns, bold colors, and also you're known for how you name your collections. So maybe you could tell me a little bit about what inspires you for a collection and how you go about naming it.
The first collection that I named was actually the one I did at Gen Next Lakme Fashion Week, which was my debut show. And it was called Katran. And that was, I was kind of in the workshop one day and I was just chatting with the tailors, and we had to make one extra outfit for the show. And we literally had no fabric left. None of the printed stuff was left. So we just took like pieces of all the leftover fabric that we could find, and we made a sari out of that. And I remember my master saying, "Ha, wo katran se bana denge." It means pieces of fabric, like little like leftover pieces of fabric. They're nothing. They're like little square pieces, super raw. So I remember him saying that word, and I said, "That's a really interesting word. And what does it mean?" So he told me. And I said, let's name the collection that, because we literally put that whole line together by just picking up scraps and scraps of fabric and making it work. So that was that. But I think just generally, whenever I'm making a collection, I think 5 years back, it was a very different story where, we would make something that was super catchy and very commercial and, people would want. And today it's more about the emotion behind that collection, So like I get really bored if I have to call a collection like bridal wear, like as obvious as that. It has to have more depth. So if you see on our Instagram, we do little bursts of collections where we say, can you wear a kaftan to a wedding? Of course you can. So that to me is the name, that to me is the name of a collection that, oh, this is a kaftan. Nobody dare wear it at a wedding, but here we are telling you can. So I think it's just about, I think today the names of the collections are more about problem solving for people. telling them where they can wear it, how they can wear it, and the emotion that I went through while making those pieces. I think that's what it's about.
I think you're also breaking barriers and giving freedom, freedom of expression, which is, I mean, at the end of the day, that's the most important thing. So how have you dealt with this new normal? You know, we're in this pandemic, we're having this interview in Zoom. I would have loved to meet you in person. So I think everything had to go digital, and you had the very first virtual fashion show. How did you come about doing that? How was the organizing of that? What challenges did you face? And of course, your WhatsApp sales are very prominent. So if you can just touch on that a little bit as well, please.
You know, we did our first virtual show. In fact, it was India's first virtual show in 2015. And yeah, it wasn't even now, it was way back.
I thought it was.
And no. We then ever since have been doing everything pretty much virtually. But the first one was then when it was an unheard of concept. And I remember that I did a show maybe 6 months before that show, before the Instagram show. And there was a photograph that my photographer took of the main show area where everybody was sitting down. And everybody, I kid you not, was on their phones. Everyone was either taking a photograph or a video, or they were Instagramming, or they were posting something, or they were, so nobody was really present in that room.
Yeah.
And I think that was only because there is so much information out there. Nobody wants to miss it. There is so much that's constantly coming up on your feed. So I said, guys, why do we put ourselves through this? And trust me, a physical show is near torture. Yeah. It is tough. It is hard work. It is expensive. It is pointlessly expensive. And I just said, guys, let's just make the runway digital. Let's just put our runway onto Instagram. I have like 1 million followers. That time they were like half. So I said, okay, 500,000 people can see it from the comfort of their homes. They can do whatever they're doing on the site, take care of their kids, cook or whatever they want. And they're watching the show, and it's there for life to see.
Yeah.
So that's when Lakme Fashion Week and we sort of got together and did this Instagram show. It was really tough to, execute, because we had no reference as to how to do this, because it hadn't been done in the world as well, I think, back then.
And in 2015, I don't think things were as digital, nowhere digital as it is now.
Yeah, I mean, we just went back to the drawing board. I know that I got my most trusted photographer, who's actually no more, Joy Datta, who used to shoot all our campaigns. And he passed away 2 years after that show. But he came and, he said, you know what, let's just shoot this like it's an actual runway. So we did a mock runway. And we had the logos and everything in the back. We even had a showstopper who was Nargis Fakhri at the time. And we just told the girls that you have to pretend walk, but you just have to behave as though you're actually interacting with an audience that doesn't exist,
Okay.
So, and we just took videos, we took some photographs, and then we went back to, the editing table, and we said, we'll add a little bit of visuals to just make it a bit more appealing visually. And that was it. I mean, and I remember really stressing out, because in 2015, only when a designer did a runway show, you could actually present that show to clients, and that drove sales. Yeah. And I said, how are we going to sell this collection? And actually, it was a better selling collection than most other collections. So it just showed.
Do you believe that's because it was online?
Yeah, because it just reached a lot more people. And it reached people at the time that they wanted to see it. They could see it at the comfort of their schedule. So I think that was very important. So that happened. And ever since, I think I did maybe 2 shows that were runway shows. But otherwise, whatever I do, we launch onto Instagram. Because like I said, we're a growing brand. It's so important to be conscious of your costs. And just for me personally, I just think the kind of stress that I went through, putting together a show on the runway was not worth it, is what I thought.
Wow. That's really inspiring. So innovative. And 2015, actually, when you said that, I was surprised. I thought it was recent.
It was a really long time back. Yeah.
Not prepared for this.
Yeah. Yeah, we were like, it's coming. 6 years later. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, for those who are watching right now, who are aspiring fashion designers, maybe you can kind of give them some advice on how they could use, how you said you run your sales through WhatsApp, is it? And
Well,
Instagram
a
and
certain part of it, a certain part of it, yeah.
okay, maybe you could give them two or three pieces of advice if they don't have a lot of seed money to start the business, and to make the most of these digital tools. Maybe some advice you could give them.
Of course. I think the best thing that could happen is that today we have so many different platforms via which we can do the marketing for the brand, present ourselves, and drive sales. So I think that use what you have in the most organic way possible. That's my first tip always. The second is that I feel like it's very important to have a benchmark for yourself when it comes to finances. Parents, friends, whatever, however you're planning to, raise money to start your business, I feel like there has to be a benchmark. You can't just keep putting money after money after money because you're getting it. That money has to come with a plan, and the sooner you plan, the better. And I also think it's important to be super critical of yourself and say that if my business does not say break even by a certain time, then I will rejig my model, or I will get help, or I will shut it down. So I think that there has to be a certain amount of unemotional attachment to the business. It has to be a very objective way of seeing it. Otherwise, you'll just constantly make everything about, oh, I feel bad for shutting it down, or I feel bad for making this decision. I don't think that should be it. It should make sense on paper, is what I think. Lastly, I feel like, the world is your runway today. I think when we started off, we just had that one show that he was at 10 o'clock in the morning that people had to come to. And, that was our only way of getting our brand out there. Today, you have Instagram, you have, Twitter, you have Facebook, you have WhatsApp. You're just all so connected. So it's easier to just, spread your wings. You don't have to be restricted to a certain country or a city or a territory. It can be, you can be a global brand sitting in your house. So use all of those things. But I also think it's very important that all of this will not make sense if you're not an authentic brand, because you're only using the same tools that everybody else is. So remember that everyone else is as connected as you are. And they're probably making even better clothes than you are, or even better products. So your product has to be superior. It has to be different. It has to be unique. And then you can make ample use of all the tools at your disposal, is what I think.
That's amazing advice. Thank you so much. So unemotional objectivity with looking at your company, be organic, be authentic, and the world is your runway. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So I wanted to ask you, what are, maybe, I'm sure you've had a few moments where you've had to make challenging decisions, like how you just advised our viewers. Sometimes you just have to take a U-turn, or you have to just rethink where the trajectory of where your company is going. What would you say was one of your most difficult or challenging moments, and how did you overcome it?
I think definitely it was actually in 2015 again, where you're that phase where the business is not so new, but it's also not that old. You're not very big, but you're also not extremely small. So it's that middle path where you just don't know where to go from there.
Yeah.
And I think that was the time when I sensed a bit of fatigue setting in about the label, about the aesthetic, and just doing quirky print after quirky print. And I noticed that a much larger audience was opening up to the brand, which was slightly older, which was slightly more elegant, more sophisticated, wanted something that was a bit more classic, and wanted something to wear to an occasion, to a celebration, which we never catered to earlier. And I remember I said, I can't bear like embroidery, and I can't bear like, sequins and shine, and just that whole sort of bridal aesthetic is not my style. And I said, how am I going to do occasion wear, but make it personal and make it unique? So that was a challenging time, because I had to kind of drop my creative ego and really cater to a more commercial aesthetic. And before that, I was just, I was kind of my own master, and I would do whatever I wanted. And collection after collection would be quirky and something I wanted to wear, that my mom liked. You know, it was all about that. But then suddenly your whole brain just rewires into, okay, is this going to sell? So
Yeah.
I think just that bridging that gap between creative and creativity and commercial viability, that was a tough period because we had to change our aesthetic. We had to think of price points. We had to think of retail. We had to think of longevity. So I think that was a tough time, where also completely the new aesthetic for the brand came about, which you see today.
Yeah.
That's when it came about. And yeah, I mean, the first year or two was difficult because I really didn't think, I didn't believe in what I was doing as such, you know, but I knew that it would be a commercial success. So I think that's when I had to kind of leave my personal taste aside and do something that people liked.
Sorry, that was a very interesting sentence that you just said. I didn't believe in what I was doing, but I knew it would be successful. Can you elaborate on
Yeah.
that? That's very interesting.
Yeah. You know, the thing is, as creative people, like if I'm a filmmaker, right, I have, I'm a fan of certain directors or a certain style or a genre of films. I'm not, and if I like, you know, art films, I'm not going to go out and watch like a commercial pot boiler. You know what I mean? So I think it's a very personal taste. And as a director or a filmmaker, whatever, you can use that personal taste into your professional life. But I think with me, what happened was that I made clothes because I liked them, and I did print because I like to wear it, you know. And that's also because that's probably why the brand was successful. But at the same time, there was a whole world out there who said, you know what, we don't like your prints, Masaba. We actually like your silhouettes. Or if you tone down this one thing, we can open this up for you. So I think I just had to make that choice and that balance between my personal taste and what works professionally.
Yeah,
So, and that's what I mean by creative ego. It's very tough for creative people to put on their business hats and just say, you know what, this is going to work. So let's do this.
for sure. It's a balance because it is also
Yeah.
your baby, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, how is it working with all the celebrities? Because I'm sure they have their own wants and needs when it comes to what they want to wear. So, how does that, balance take off? How is it working with them? Maybe you can
Um,
tell.
they're all actually really, really great. The ones who aren't, I don't work with, obviously. But I think the thing is they're very, it depends. Like Sonam, for example, is somebody who is very, very trusting, very clear in her head about what she wants to look like
Mm-hmm.
and what her sort of strengths and her weaknesses are with respect to her body. And but at the same time, she's very trusting. Like she will go, you know, if I tell her, look, let's experiment, she will do it, you know. So I think that's great. And the best part about her is that she also adds her own personality into all the clothes. So it just becomes really, really fun to dress her. Shilpa Shetty is also like that. You know, she's usually not really asking you details, etc. Also a great body, so I think she can pretty much carry off anything. And so she's great. But there are a few people who prefer like customization. You know, I mean, a lot of the girls, not necessarily the younger lot, but like the slightly older lot would probably, you know, say make some changes in terms of sleeve lengths or blouse lengths or color that they don't like. And they're very sure, they're very clear about what they want. So they're a bit more the customization a lot, but otherwise everyone's super experimental and willing to go that extra mile.
And that trust is there. They're like, you know what? I know you're
Yeah.
amazing at what you do, so I know you're gonna make me look good.
Correct. But they also are very, very clear in their head about the fact that, okay, you know, you can't, like Priyanka Chopra, for example. I think she's great because whenever we've dressed her, which hasn't really been a lot, but whenever I've dressed her, she knows the color she wants. She knows the kind of neckline she wants. So that's great because it just helps you maneuver that a bit more effectively.
Nice. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So you just made your debut on Netflix with Masaba Masaba. How was that? How did it come about? How was that journey for you?
It was really fun and I really miss it because we haven't been able to shoot because of the pandemic. But um, The thing about being on set is that, and I never felt this before, but all of it looks so glam from the outside, but we all forget that it's a very physically demanding profession, you and mentally, because you have to be present in the moment. You have to physically have the energy to pull through a scene, or to change your physicality to pull through a character. So I think that's pretty tough, but it actually became like a meditative experience for me, because I was just going through a lot with my label at the time. I wasn't really enjoying design very much, and there were so many challenges, and I was feeling a bit jaded. So I think for me that became a release. It became like an exit, or more like a paid vacation from doing something that I always do. And it was great because I actually got to know myself a lot better. It was, I always say, it was like breaking me open, and it was great. I think more than that, we had so much fun because Mom and I were telling our story in the most authentic way possible. Like, we were controlling the narrative. And goes without saying that the team was incredible. The directors team, the production team, everybody was just fun. We were mostly girls. 90% of the team was girls and women. So everybody was just so tuned in and feeling that energy. And I think it really, really showed on screen, I hope. And I just remember it being fun. We go into shooting season 2 in the next 15 or 20 days. So I'm really looking forward to that. Yeah.
I think everyone is.
Yeah.
So are you planning to go full on into acting, maybe like movies and films soon as well?
Yeah, totally. I mean, I always say that my first priority and my first baby is the brand. So I would never abandon it. I would never not give it the attention it needs. But at the same time, I'm really looking forward to doing more fiction work, and I have been reading some scripts. I have been doing a lot of auditions. It's a lot of fun. So hopefully something will click. And more importantly, what I wanted to say was that it's so important as us girls, right? You are told that you must do one thing your whole life. But I think you should totally do the various things that you want to do, because you'll always have that regret when you're at that age where you can't really experiment after a while, that you didn't do something. So I think it's really important to just do whatever you must. And like I said, the brand is on autopilot now. I have an incredible team. I have the time to try new things. I have the energy to try new things. So yeah, I'm looking forward to doing more.
Yeah, don't limit yourself. I think, I mean, throughout this entire interview, I hear the words freedom, authenticity, just be you, which is really amazing. And it's really an important message, especially for women who many times are forced to live within these boxes, societal boxes. That being said, are there any social causes or organizations that you work with women or with fashion? Is there any social work that you're passionate about, or what social causes, are you passionate about?
I haven't really ever been tied to an NGO or a group, because and this is something my mom taught me, she always said that charity begins at home. Like, I remember in the middle of the second wave right now, there was a huge shortage of oxygen and, all of those things. It was a very tough time for people. And there was also financially a tough time for people. And I remember that we as a business went through a tough time as well, financially. And I said, and everyone said, you know what, you should be like raising money and like stuff like that and doing it on a public platform. I think a lot of charity happens behind the scenes. So, like when we were in Uttarakhand, where Mom and I have a holiday home, we spoke to the doctors there, and we actually donated. They didn't have PPE kits, if you believe it. So, so we actually donated some of that. Then they didn't have those plastic sort of dividers, so that when you quarantine someone and you just want to, so they were running short of that. So we just said, we'll donate in this way. And we knew those doctors because they're in the area. So that to me is charity. I mean, I don't have to go on to Instagram and make a fancy, creative with a post and say, we have like 800 crores, but we're raising 2 crores, and we as a couple put in one crore each. I don't want to do that. I just think that's a bit unfair, especially because my own brand, my own people needed that help from me first. So whoever I could help in my own capacity, I just wanted to make sure the salaries were being paid, my tailors were being paid. If there's anybody who's getting, hit by COVID and they need their hospital expenses to be taken care of, we took care of that. So that to me is charity. I don't need to go out there and make, which is why I have great regard for someone like Salman Khan, because I think he does so much work behind the scenes that none of us know about. And it's incredible. So yeah, I think help those around you first and then move on to the world.
Actually, that's so true, Sometimes you don't see the people right beside you who are maybe silently, like not even asking for help, but they need it.
I must tell you, there was somebody my mom knows who didn't have money to eat herself. And she was borrowing money from people to help some doctors in her hometown. And it was a large amount of money. And I said, you know what, there's going to be a time when you're going to have to probably give it back if they ask for it. And then what? Then you will be the one in trouble. So I think you always have to fend for yourself and your family and your workers and loved ones first, and then move on to other stuff.
Start with your nucleus. Thank you. So we have a fun segment, but that segment, just before we get to that, I would like to, well, this was also fun. I love this chat. But before we wrap up, I would like you to share some of your thoughts or anything that you would like to tell our viewers, actually. Some piece of advice you'd like to leave them with, or maybe a question you'd want them to think about, anything that you want.
I think the one thing that I will leave everybody with is something that I've been feeling a lot personally. I think that we all have to really use this time. It's a tough time worldwide, but we really have to use this time to think about what we want, and to think about our priorities, and to think about our mental health and our physical health, and then move on to work and success and fame and all of those things. Because I think that like my mom was saying that, if you don't take care of your body and you don't have good health, how are you going to enjoy your success? You won't be able to. So I think it's very important, and I wanted to say this mostly to the young people, that this is not a race. You pick your pace of how you want to work. Make sure that you always save up, and make sure that you always make time for the smaller things in life, like friends and family, and taking care of your mind, taking time off, and be unapologetic about it. I think that's very important. I think all of us have gone into this mad rat race before the pandemic, at least, where we didn't really think hard about, do we even enjoy doing this? So I think ask yourself those tough questions, spend some time with yourself and your family and your loved ones, and you'll be fine.
Thank you. I actually lied. There's one more question, and this is just because I am very curious. So I saw on your Instagram, you posted saying, about how you've been working out and how workout time is non-negotiable for you. And this is the lightest you've felt and you feel great in your body. So how did you go about it? What are your tricks? Can you share a bit of that? And when did you decide that, that's it? This is a non-negotiable.
I have spent my early 20s going to every dietitian on the planet, trying out every diet that I could find on the internet, and also trying various types of different workouts. How you had those things that would come up suddenly, like there was Zumba and there was something else.
Yeah.
There was like 100 things that came up.
Yeah.
And I just remember not feeling... I just remember spending a lot of money, in these classes and stuff like that. And I remember someone told me that if you're not going to get up and move your butt literally on your own without ever having to go to a class or worrying that you've paid some money or whatever, you're never going to get fit. That push has to come from within, that you have to just get up and do it yourself, And I think that really changed for me in the pandemic, where you didn't have the option but to work out yourself and plan your routine and plan your schedule. I just want to say that, the idea is that a diet or nutrition plan or fitness and health are something that should be sustainable. They shouldn't come and go with trends. They shouldn't come and go if you are, in another city or another country for 3 months. It shouldn't throw you off track. So I would say eat local, eat the pasta if you're in Italy, but also eat the idli and the vadas if you're like in Kerala. I think you have to eat local.
Okay.
You have to look at your portions, because I think what a lot of us do is that in the name of healthy food, we just sometimes, we don't look at what we're eating and how much of it we're eating.
Mm-hmm.
Don't deprive yourself. I do occasionally binge on, the sugar and fried food and all of that. I don't deprive myself, but I don't eat after 7. I think that's the biggest trick.
Okay.
That's the biggest thing that I've learned. And I get like some sort of physical activity at least 5 to 6 times a week. And that's non-negotiable, I plan my work, I plan my calls, I plan everything around my workout. And that's how I like my life to be. Hopefully, even like later when I have babies and stuff, but it's not going to be that easy to plan, but yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. Out of curiosity, what time do you go to sleep after you finished eating at 7?
I pass out by 10.
Wow,
I can't stay up. I mean, and then I wake up at like 6:30, 7.
Oh, okay.
So yeah.
That's a very healthy cycle, actually.
I hope so. I hope it serves me in the long run.
You look fantastic. I don't know if you've ever heard. I mean, I don't know, I feel like you look a lot like Julia Roberts.
Why do people say that? I just don't see it.
I think
I have got that so much. Maybe it's the smile, but I don't even smile that big.
It's the smile.
That is so straight. Okay, that's good news though. That's a good person.
Yeah, I mean, you're stunning. You are. It goes without saying.
Thank you.
Okay, so now we're coming to the fun section.
Is this the rapid fire?
Yes, this is the rapid fire. One favorite brand that has never failed you?
Uniqlo.
Favorite daily routine?
Wake up, work out, hydrate, work, go to bed.
Favorite muse?
Sonam Kapoor.
The biggest or hardest lie you've said?
I think I was just trying to get out of I see it all the time actually. I'm very, very cool about lying when I have to get out of stuff that I know will not do anything to me, but I don't want to upset the person. It must be like yesterday or something when I said no to some collaboration or something. Yeah, I just was I'm busy.
Yeah.
But in reality, I don't want to do it. Yeah.
Guilty pleasure. What's your guilty pleasure?
Truffle fries and a McDonald's burger.
Wow. Truffle fries. That's the way to go.
Fries. Yeah.
Favorite dessert?
Anything that has a mix of biscuit, caramel, and chocolate.
Caramel and chocolate.
Yeah.
Romantic dinner by the seaside or street food and Coke? I think you answered that one.
Street food and Coke. But could we just take it to the beach side and eat it there? Maybe that might be nice.
Oh, that's the best of both worlds.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Masaba, for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you for the insight that you have given. Really, you're such an inspiring woman. You're fierce, just like your brand.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
It was such an honor talking to you. And hopefully you're going to come to Sri Lanka soon. Do you think you will expand into the Sri Lankan market?
We've actually done a show in Sri Lanka many years back at one of the hotels. It was in Colombo. I think the Hilton or something.
Okay.
Years back with Prasad Bidappa, we did a show.
I've worked with Prasad. I love Prasad.
Yeah, he's lovely. So he put together this really fun show with BB Russell and a bunch of other designers, and I was there from India. So hopefully soon. I mean, we always try and do these pop-ups in different parts of the world. So Sri Lanka is always on my list. I really want to go and first for a holiday and then to expand the brand.
When you come for a holiday, let me know. I'll tell you all the best places to go.
I will.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for your time. Have a wonderful weekend. Stay safe. And we cannot wait for season 2.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And to everyone who was watching, we hope you enjoyed it. I'm sure you did. Stay tuned. We have more amazing and inspiring entrepreneurs coming up. So see you next episode.
Maliban Vitagen is the best nutritional supplement for you.